Have you ever felt like a man was pulling you in, only to push you away the moment you got too close? 1 minute, he's sweet, attentive, and saying all the right things. The next, he's cold, distant, and acting like you're the problem. If that sounds familiar, you're not crazy, and you're definitely not alone. Here's the truth no one talks about. Some men don't want a real relationship. They want control. And the easiest way to keep control is to mess with your emotions, just enough to keep you confused, but not enough to make you walk away. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it looks like mixed signals. Sometimes it sounds like excuses. But it always feels the same, exhausting. You're constantly second-guessing yourself, wondering what you did wrong, chasing clarity that never comes. So why do they do it? Because emotional manipulation gives them power without accountability. Because they know your empathy is your soft spot. And because deep down they know you deserve better, and they're hoping you don't realize it. But here's where it ends. Because once you learn the game, you can outplay it. In this video, I'm going to break down the tactics, show you how to spot the signs, and give you the tools to stop falling for the emotional traps and start reclaiming your power. You're not too emotional. You're not overreacting. You're waking up. And this is the first step to outsmarting him for good. Let's begin. One of the biggest mistakes people make when dealing with emotional manipulation is assuming the red flags are going to be obvious. They're not. In fact, the first red flag is often disguised as something flattering, charming, or even romantic. That's exactly what makes it so dangerous. It usually starts with intensity. He's moving fast, too fast. Maybe he tells you things like, "I've never felt this way before. You're different from anyone I've ever met." It sounds sweet, right? But underneath the compliments is pressure. Pressure to trust him, to open up quickly, to let your guard down before you've even seen who he really is. That early emotional rush isn't intimacy. It's a setup. It's a distraction. He's creating a false sense of connection so he can establish control before you start noticing the cracks. Then comes inconsistency. One day he's fully present, texting back instantly, making plans, saying all the right things. The next, distant, cold, suddenly too busy. And you're left wondering what you did wrong. Spoiler, you did nothing wrong. The shift was never about you. It's about him pulling you into a cycle. And once you start chasing that version of him from day one, he knows he has emotional leverage. The real red flag here: you're explaining away behavior that doesn't sit right with you. You're telling yourself he's just busy or confused or been through a lot. But if someone's words and actions don't align, believe the actions. Mixed signals are not a personality trait. They're a control tactic. When your intuition starts whispering that something feels off, listen. Confusion is the first sign that someone's trying to manipulate how you see reality. It's subtle. It's sneaky. But if you catch that first red flag early on, you can stop the emotional game before it even begins. This is where you shift from being reactive to being aware, and awareness. That's your greatest weapon. Let's go even deeper, because once you know what to look for, the power dynamic starts to change in your favor. Once you recognize the red flags, the next step is understanding the actual game he's playing. Because, trust me, this kind of behavior isn't random. It's a pattern, a strategy. Whether he's fully conscious of it or not, there's a psychological playbook behind every confusing message, every guilt trip, every cold shoulder. It usually starts with control disguised as connection. He'll ask deep personal questions early on, not because he genuinely wants to understand you, but because he's gathering data. He wants to know your wounds, your fears, your insecurities. And later, he'll use that exact information to get under your skin. That time you told him about your trust issues. He'll joke about you being paranoid. That story about your ex. He'll twist it when he's trying to make you feel guilty for having boundaries. It's subtle, but it's targeted. Another common move, gaslighting. This is one of the most powerful weapons in his playbook. He'll deny things you know he said. He'll rewrite arguments. He'll make you question your memory, your judgment, your emotional reactions. And the more you second guess yourself, the more control he has. You'll start apologizing for things you didn't even do, just to keep the peace. That's exactly where he wants you, disoriented, uncertain, and emotionally dependent on his validation. And then there's the push-pull cycle. 1 minute, he's all in, compliments, affection, promises. The next, cold, distant, withholding. This constant emotional whiplash keeps you hooked. It's a reward-punishment system, designed to make you crave the highs and ignore the lows. It's not love, it's addictive manipulation. Here's the harsh truth. He's not confused. He's not just bad at communication. He knows exactly what he's doing, even if he won't admit it. And as long as you don't understand the pattern, you'll keep falling into it. But the moment you see the strategy, it starts to lose its power. You stop personalizing his behavior. You stop chasing, and you start reclaiming control, not just of the relationship, but of your emotions, your energy, and your self-worth. Now that you know how the playbook works, let's talk about how to emotionally detach without losing your mind or your dignity. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you shut down or become cold. What it actually means is this: you stop letting someone else's behavior control your inner world. You stop giving your emotional energy to someone who doesn't value it, and you reclaim the space in your life that belongs to you. Let's get one thing straight. Emotional detachment is not weakness. It's not a defense mechanism. It's a conscious decision to protect your peace, especially when someone is trying to disturb it on purpose. But here's the challenge. If someone has been playing with your emotions, detaching can feel unnatural at first. You've likely been trained to over-explain, to fix things, to be understanding, even when your needs aren't being met. Emotional detachment flips that script. It begins with observation. You stop reacting and start watching. You notice the patterns, you see the shifts, you hear the inconsistencies. And instead of engaging, instead of confronting, instead of pleading to be heard, you pause. You say less. You detach from the need to be understood by someone who only listens when it benefits them. The next step, you stop personalizing. When he pulls away, you don't ask what you did wrong. When he sends mixed signals, you don't rush in to decode them. When he blames you for how he's treating you, you don't absorb that as truth. You recognize that his behavior is a reflection of him, not a reflection of your worth. Detachment is also about boundaries, silent ones. Not everything needs to be said. You don't have to explain your silence. You don't have to justify why you're pulling back. You simply protect your energy by removing access. Access to your time, your emotions, your responses. You'll know you're detaching when his chaos no longer pulls you in. When you can sit in silence instead of sending that long message. When you can feel the urge to fix things but choose peace instead. That's real power. Not control over someone else, but control over yourself. This isn't easy, especially if you care deeply. But caring doesn't mean sacrificing your sanity. Emotional detachment is an act of self-love. It's how you rise above manipulation and create space for clarity. And here's the most important part. Detachment doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you feel everything, but you choose what deserves a response and what doesn't. Once you master emotional detachment, you stop being a player in his game. You become the one sitting outside of it, watching the pieces move, no longer reacting, but responding with strength, silence, and strategy. And that's how you win. Let's take it further. What happens when it's time to walk away without giving him the closure he's expecting? There comes a point in every emotionally draining connection where words are no longer enough. You've explained yourself, given chances, set boundaries, and held space, only to watch them be ignored, dismissed, or twisted back on you. And sometimes the most powerful move you can make isn't a final conversation. It's leaving without a warning. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, but because you finally understand that your peace isn't something you owe an explanation for. The truth is, people who play with your emotions rarely expect you to walk away. Why? Because they count on the fact that you care. They count on the fact that you'll stay to fix, to argue, to prove your worth, that you'll stick around, hoping they'll finally see your value. But when someone shows you repeatedly that they are committed to misunderstanding you, you don't owe them closure, you owe yourself freedom. Walking away without a dramatic exit isn't heartless, it's healing. It's the moment you stop giving CPR to something that's been emotionally dead for a long time. It's the moment you stop begging for consistency from someone who thrives on chaos. And here's what usually happens when you leave quietly. They notice. They may try to reel you back in. They might test you to see if your silence is real. That's not love. It's control slipping through their fingers. Don't mistake the chase for change. You don't need to announce your growth. You don't need to explain your silence. You don't need to spell out the disrespect that's been piling up. Because deep down, they already know why you're done. They just didn't expect you to stop playing the role they wrote for you. Here's what walking away looks like in real life. You stop responding to the texts. You stop defending your boundaries. You don't re-engage when they provoke you. You don't wait around hoping they'll get it. You remove yourself emotionally, energetically, and physically, without the grand finale speech. You choose yourself in quiet, steady ways. And in that silence you become unshakable. People who truly care don't leave you in emotional confusion. They don't test your limits just to see how far they can go. So if you're stuck in a cycle where your pain is being minimized and your love is being weaponized, the exit isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Walking away without warning is not cold, it's clarity. It's what happens when you finally see that staying is costing you more than leaving ever could. And once you take that step, your healing begins, not because they changed, but because you did. Let's talk now about how to reclaim your power, step by step, and become someone who can't be played again. Taking your power back isn't about becoming hard, bitter, or emotionally unavailable. It's about coming home to yourself, remembering who you were before someone made you doubt your intuition, your value, or your voice. This is where your real transformation begins, and it doesn't have to be loud or public, it just has to be real. Step 1 is radical honesty. Not with him, with yourself. That means asking the hard questions. What have I tolerated that didn't align with my worth? Where did I betray my own needs just to keep peace with someone else? What did I believe about myself that allowed me to stay in confusion? This kind of truth can sting, but it's also where freedom begins. Because once you see the role you played, you realize something powerful. If you participated in your own disempowerment, you also have the power to reverse it. Step 2 is emotional accountability. This doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means taking back control of how you respond. You stop chasing clarity from people who benefit from your confusion. You stop giving access to your emotions just because someone knows how to trigger them. You begin responding with silence, with space, with boundaries, not out of fear, but out of strength. Step 3. Rebuilding your identity without him in the picture. Who are you when you're not stuck in survival mode? When your heart isn't tied up in trying to fix someone emotionally unavailable? This is where you pour your energy into your own healing. Therapy, journaling, movement, connection. You stop making him the center of the story and write yourself back in as the main character. Then comes energy protection. You become selective about what you respond to. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Not everyone gets to drain you. You learn the difference between someone who's challenging you to grow and someone who's triggering your wounds. And when it's the latter, you walk, not with resentment, with peace. And finally, you practice holding the boundary even when it's uncomfortable. That means saying no and not explaining it. That means not responding to that late night text. That means standing in your truth even when you're tempted to prove it to someone who never tried to understand it. Taking your power back is a daily decision. It's not about punishing them. It's about protecting you. And every time you choose silence over chaos, peace over patterns, and self-respect over temporary comfort, you become stronger. This is the version of you he didn't expect. The one who no longer reacts. The one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't explain. The version of you that's unshakable, grounded, and done settling for emotional crumbs. And now that you're taking your power back, let's talk about how to respond when he tries to flip the script and guilt trip you back in. Guilt is one of the most powerful tools a manipulator will use to pull you back in. And the moment you start setting boundaries or walking away, don't be surprised when he suddenly flips the script. He'll act confused. He'll play the victim. He'll try to rewrite the entire story so you look like the cold one, the selfish one, the one who gave up too easily. This is emotional warfare, and guilt is his weapon. But here's the key: when you're grounded in your truth, guilt loses its grip. The best way to deal with guilt tripping isn't to argue or explain, it's to stand firm, stay calm, and let your words reflect the clarity you've worked so hard to build. When he says, "I can't believe you're just walking away like this after everything," you say, "I gave what I could, and now I'm choosing peace." When he says, "Wow, I guess I never meant anything to you," you say, "That's not true, but I'm not going to keep proving my worth to someone who doesn't recognize it." When he says, "You've changed," you say, "I have. That's what growth looks like." And when he tries to pull at your empathy with lines like, "I'm really struggling without you," or "You're all I have," you can say, "I hope you find the support you need, but I'm not the one to provide it anymore." You're not heartless for saying these things. You're not cold, you're clear. You're protecting yourself from emotional manipulation disguised as connection. The goal here isn't to convince him of your reasons. It's not to make him understand. It's to stop negotiating your boundaries just because someone is uncomfortable with them. Guilt tripping is about control. It's an attempt to bypass your logic and speak directly to your emotions, your kindness, your compassion, your loyalty. But you can still be kind without being controlled. You can care without going back. You can feel empathy and still enforce distance. And most importantly, you don't owe him closure, comfort, or continued access to your life just because he suddenly realizes what he lost. Every time you respond with strength instead of guilt, you break the cycle. You show him and yourself that your peace is no longer up for debate. So when the guilt tripping starts, stay calm. Don't justify. Don't over-explain. Speak your truth in one sentence and then let silence do the rest. Because silence after a boundary, is a language manipulative people understand very well. Up next, I'll share how to rebuild your confidence after emotional games. How to not just survive the chaos, but come out stronger, clearer, and more in control than ever. Confidence isn't about being loud. It's not about proving a point or getting revenge. Real confidence is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It's the energy that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need your validation to stand in that truth." If a man has been messing with your emotions, it's likely that your confidence has taken a hit. That's part of the game, undermining your sense of self, so you stay confused and dependent. But here's the truth. Confidence is not something he can take from you. It's something you reclaim, one choice at a time. The first confidence hack: don't chase clarity from someone who thrives on confusion. When you stop begging for answers and start trusting your gut, the energy shifts immediately. You stop needing closure. You stop replaying conversations. You decide that their behavior is enough reason to walk away. That decision alone is power. Second, start showing up for yourself. When your self-worth isn't tied to how someone else treats you, you become untouchable. Take care of your body. Speak kindly to yourself. Keep the promises you make to you. The more consistent you are with your own self-respect, the less room there is for someone to come in and shake your foundation. Next, control the room with your silence. You don't have to respond to every text. You don't have to explain every boundary. The moment you stop over-explaining is the moment you become mysterious again. Confident people don't overshare. They observe, they choose their words carefully, and they protect their energy like it's sacred, because it is. Another game changer: body language. Confidence starts with presence. Shoulders back, eye contact, calm breathing. Don't shrink yourself. When you enter a space, whether it's a room, a conversation, or a relationship, enter like you belong, because you do. And when you carry yourself like someone who doesn't need to prove anything, people start responding to that energy without even realizing why. Also, detach from the outcome. Confidence grows when you're not obsessed with being chosen. You know you'll be okay whether someone stays or not. You know your life is full with or without their approval. That indifference, not coldness, but peaceful indifference, is magnetic. And finally, surround yourself with mirrors, not magnifiers. Mirrors reflect who you truly are. Magnifiers distort you. If you're constantly around people who highlight your flaws but never your growth, that's not reflection. That's manipulation. Get around people who remind you of your strength, not just your softness. When you start making these shifts, even the small ones, you'll feel it. The power dynamic changes. You're no longer reacting to him. You're choosing what and who deserves your energy. And when a confident woman starts choosing herself, the game ends. Full stop. Now let's wrap this up with the final truth you need to hear. the one that will stay with you long after this video ends. Here's the truth. You might not want to hear, but absolutely need to. Emotional manipulation is not your fault. It's not because you weren't good enough, didn't try hard enough, or loved too much. It's because someone else chose to play a game that's all about control, not connection. You didn't deserve to be caught in that cycle. But now that you know how the game works, you have the power to break free. The power to stop blaming yourself and start trusting your instincts. The power to reclaim your emotional freedom and peace. Remember, healing isn't linear. You might feel strong one day and vulnerable the next. That's normal. What matters is that you keep moving forward, step by step, boundary by boundary, day by day. You're not just surviving this. You're learning, growing, becoming the kind of person who can't be fooled, controlled, or diminished. The person who commands respect, not by demanding it, but by embodying it. And here's the thing. When you stop chasing someone who doesn't see your worth, you create space for those who will. People who honor your time, your heart, and your boundaries. People who lift you up instead of tearing you down. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. Because on the other side of this pain is clarity, strength, and freedom you never thought possible. So when you find yourself doubting, remember this moment. Remember that you have everything you need to outsmart emotional manipulation. You have the knowledge, the power, and most importantly, the right to protect your heart. Thank you for trusting me to guide you through this. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Your peace is your power. Guard it fiercely, and never settle for less than you deserve. Before we finish, here's a bonus tip that can make all the difference on your journey to emotional freedom. Start keeping a boundary journal. This simple practice will help you track how you feel, what triggers come up, and where you're standing strong or slipping back into old patterns. Every time you notice a red flag or feel pulled into emotional chaos, write it down. Record your reactions, what you said or didn't say, and how you wish you'd handled it. Over time, this journal becomes a powerful mirror, showing you your growth, your patterns, and your wins. Why does this work? Because awareness is the first step toward change. When you're able to step back and see the situation objectively, without being swept up in emotions, you empower yourself to make better decisions. You stop reacting and start responding. Next, make a commitment to yourself. No matter what happens, you will protect your peace first. That means saying no when you need to, walking away when it's time, and not explaining your boundaries to anyone who refuses to respect them. If you want to go deeper, consider seeking out resources like therapy, support groups, or trusted friends who understand your journey. Healing is not a solo mission. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and remind you of your worth. Also, remember that growth takes time. You're rewiring years of conditioning. So be patient and kind with yourself. Celebrate every small victory. The moments you choose silence over chaos, self-respect over confusion, and peace over pain. Finally, don't hesitate to revisit this video whenever you need a reminder of your strength and strategy. Bookmark it, share it, or even journal about what spoke to you most. Your emotional freedom is possible. It starts with one choice, choosing yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future content designed to empower you. And remember, you deserve respect, peace, and love that lifts you up, not tears that tear you down.